Good afternoon. My name is Larry Klayman. You know me as the founder of both Judicial Watch and now Freedom Watch. I'm currently the chairman and general counsel of Freedom Watch. That name, by the way, was coined by the show West Wing when I was running Judicial Watch. It was Harry Claypool of Freedom Watch, who was played by John Deal, the actor. I took that after I ran for the Senate, came out and started Freedom Watch. I want to talk today about what's been going on with the special counsel, Robert Mueller. This is a guy who is not who he appears to be. He's someone who suppressed information about Saudi money laundering leading up to 9/11. Perhaps it could have been prevented. I represented two FBI agents, Robert Wright and John Vincent. They were trying to come forward and have this matter looked at by the highest reaches of the FBI. It was covered up. So when you hear all these accolades about Robert Mueller, take them with a grain of salt, because they're simply not true. That's typical of Washington, typical of these very young reporters and commentators. They just take the company line. But there's something that's been happening in the last few days which really tells you who Robert Mueller is. Number one, he's a friend of James Comey. They are very, very close. They're of the same mentality. They're establishment creatures. They learned how to exist in the swamp. You know, from Florida, I know how the swamp works. I know how alligators work. They just sliver about. These two sliver about. And what Comey did just the last day or so, when he decided that he was going to first talk to special counsel Robert Mueller before he would testify publicly in front of congressional committees, tells you where this special counsel investigation is going. Because the reason he wants to talk to Mueller, undoubtedly, is to implicate Trump in an obstruction of justice behind closed doors with the special counsel, where no one will ever find out what's being said unless there's an indictment, and then even then you won't find out in all likelihood. And he's going to go in there and seek retribution against Trump for having fired him, for having embarrassed him publicly, for having said various things that he considers not to be complimentary towards Comey, and certainly I think it was mild what the president said. But clearly he's going in there with Mueller to, in effect, conspire with Mueller, he hopes, to have the president indicted for obstruction of justice. Now, I believe that these memos, and we have sought them under the Freedom of Information Act, were created after the fact. Comey is not an honest man. Comey is corrupt. We will be bringing a lawsuit against him in the next few days. Comey is somebody who has to restore his so-called reputation, and the best way he can do that is to get the President of the United States indicted and then impeached. Now, will the President be indicted? Probably not. I don't think even Mueller has the guts to do that. He'll look for low-hanging fruit, and regrettably, he'll be looking to General Mike Flynn, who's become the whipping boy of this whole thing, unjustifiably, I believe, in large part. And some others are in and around Trump, perhaps Paul Manafort, perhaps Roger Stone. These guys will be the fall guys in all likelihood for Mueller, because he's going to have to justify spending what will probably result in tens of millions of taxpayer dollars on this investigation, which was the result, largely, of Republicans stabbing the president in the back. Republicans like Marco Rubio, Republicans like Jason Chaffetz, and of course that hateful, senile individual known as John McCain, the senator from Arizona. So I want to bring this to light because you don't get this kind of commentary on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. The people that they're bringing on to comment, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are these young kids that really don't understand what's going on. Nothing wrong with being young. I was young at one time myself. But you know, it's time for these networks to really start getting legal analysis, bringing on people from public interest groups that aren't lawyers, bringing on individuals who come from the typical Washington swamp establishment where everybody scratches everybody's backs, and they go to the same soirees in Georgetown and rub shoulders. You know, let's start getting down to the brass tacks and having the American people understand what's really going on. So that's why I'm coming to you today. I want you to understand, go to freedomwatchusa.org, support us, because we are your Justice Department. I like Attorney General Jeff Sessions, but we can do things he can't for political reasons. So go to freedomwatchusa.org. God bless you, God bless America, and God save our great country.